Okay, we've got all of our techie things aligned. Thank you, thank you. Oh, that's right. No, I have to do one more techie thing because we're hearing me. There we go. Excellent. Okay. All right, good. So welcome everyone. Akasha here, and I'm super excited. This is our second Infinite Conversations, and my wonderful guest today is Cristian. Hi, Cristian.
Hey, everyone.
And what we're going to do today is we're going to be talking about the equinox and why it's such an important moment for a lot of different reasons, but we're going to be digging into some of Cristian's history and his experience and his family and his culture and other cultures to look at what did this mean and what was the significance of it? What was the power of it? What is it we can tap into now as we get ready to go into the equinox in a few weeks? And we're also going to be doing a virtual retreat for you. So Cristian is bringing some of his wonderful ceremony dancers, and they're going to come on over here to the house, and we're going to treat you to 2 days. The equinox is actually on 2 days. It's on the 22nd and the 23rd because of the timing of it. And I am going to go to either the temple where the sun rises through, if they're letting us in there right now, or to another pyramid in the morning one day. If we can live stream, we will do that. Otherwise, we will record a meditation for you from there. And then we're going to be doing all kinds of fun things at the house. Cristian will be doing a ceremony. We'll be making cacao. I'm going to give you ingredients beforehand. I'm going to be sending you and teaching you the Mayan prayer for the 7 directions. You're going to help me initiate my house. It's going to be called Casa Ishel. And so we're going to do some blessing of the land and the waters. And we're going to be doing Vision Quest with Power Animals. There's a lot of fun stuff. So instead of just the ceremony, which we've done in the past, it's going to be 2 days, and one day will be some video and some ceremony live, but everything will be recorded for you. So, okay, so let me share my screen real quick as we get started. Feel free to say hi in the chat. Hi, everybody on Facebook. We can't see you while we're over here, but feel free to put anything in the comments. We'll see you later. And okay, which one is it here? Oh, that's not it. All right. There we go. Okay. So if you guys have any questions for Cristian about anything to do with Mayan or Aztec or a lot of the indigenous beliefs, especially in the Americas, or other things around animals and power animals and how they related to them and what kind of power they held, what kind of space they held, what kind of qualities they had, and how did they interact. And go and ooh, we're doing it now. Okay, good. So this is the Infinite Show, and this is a new series I'm doing on here called Infinite Conversations. And so today we are with my beautiful friend, Cristian. We were just talking about how it's been way too long since we've been together. Some of you may have been blessed enough to come to one of our online ceremonies we've done over the past few years since the pandemic started. And some of you may have been super blessed to come in person to the 4 or 5 different retreats where Cristian did some ceremonies for us. And we did these in person in temples and sacred ceremonial caves and all kinds of things. So really quick, these are the dates. You don't have to be there live, but we will be on and off. You'll be having breaks and you're going to be able to stay home and you're going to be able to go through all those things I was just sharing with you. So it is a 2-day retreat. And like I said, we're going to go to one of the many, many Mayan pyramid sites around here. One of them has a special temple where on the equinox, the sun rises through it. And when you have that hit your forehead, your third eye, your crown area, chakras, it gave you what they called a solar initiation. So it's a very beautiful thing that we are going to do our best to be at and recreate. And we also have other pyramids we can climb on top of. So then we're going to come back here, like I said, cook cacao, eat it, do a little ceremony with it, show you how to have your ceremonies at home. meet your power animals. And it's really a vision quest for you to have the opportunity to discover who you are. Because of the breakdown in the last few years, especially this year, you are becoming someone new. And we've had a complete destiny shift and change and awakening in our path and our collective path. And all of these things are coming to fruition. So I really see the equinox as an opportunity to walk through a portal where you will be walking into your new self. You will be walking into a new reality, and you get to create that depending on who you are when you walk through. So these are just a few pictures of our house where we're going to be doing the ceremony from, and we're going to walk all around here and hopefully be able to share all these different spaces with you because we're going to be doing the blessing and the initiation. We're going to be calling on all the animals and doing a blessing to the earth, the waters. We have the Chicxulub meteor out there in the water, which supposedly was the one that killed the dinosaurs. And we have dolphins out there and rays and all kinds of amazing things. So that was wrong. This is my kitchen. It's slowly getting finished. And we're going to be cooking some cacao from this beautiful slab of crystal. And this is a rainbow that we had recently, which is so beautiful because Casa Ixchel is named after the Mayan goddess Ixchel, who is the rainbow, moon, and many other things goddess. So here's a few pictures of Cristian in his ceremony garb, which you will be getting blessed to see him in, and some of the ceremonies he's done for us, for others. And this is one of the pyramids that we may be going to. This is at Mayapan with the sacred Kukulkan. The snake in most cultures was not evil. It was one of the most powerful power animals and represented the sun and often the supreme god, and because of its power to transform. So this is one of my retreats in the past. In fact, this was the very first one, and this was on the top of Koba on the day of the equinox. So we're going to dive into these ideas around the equinox, these ideas around animals. This was something that just came through me, and Cristian's going to add to it. But when you think about power animals, they're spirit guides, right? Animals come to us, they show up in person, or they show up in dreams, or they show up in different ways into your consciousness to speak to you. They have healing powers. They all have different types of powers, and we relate to them in different ways. One of the first things I ever learned, the first oracle deck I ever used, the first awakening in my spirituality, I was in New Mexico. And I got the medicine card deck, which is a Native American animal card deck. And it's what I learned. It was my entry in, along with doing animal care and animal healing. So everything for me in the spirit world opened up and began to guide me and help me heal from everything that had fallen apart in my life, came through animals. And so learning through the Native American traditions, how they felt about coyote or turtle or bear, turkey, right, or ant. Some of the ones that I've worked with here in the Maya, of course, jaguar. And we do have dolphins out here as well. Turtle, the bee, there's hummingbird, many other ones. And of course, you have all these different tribes around the world, right? We have the dolphins and whales as power animals, wolves, of course, over and over. Even in Egypt, cat, cow, baboon, monkeys, vultures, birds like crazy, eagles, right? So this is a little bit about Cristian. And he comes from the 5th longest living Aztec family in Teotihuacan. And his father, who passed last year, was the president of the indigenous elders. And his mother, which I've had the blessing to meet, and most of his family, who I've been blessed to meet, all do incredible ceremonies and healing work together. And along with DNA now, they are expanding. And like I said, they come and just share their knowledge. So thank you so much, Cristian, for being here.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I'm amazed.
Wow, is that me? Yeah, we've been doing stuff for a while, huh?
It has been quite interesting to have these flashbacks once in a while and really get to know where we are standing at, because for many years we just go on and on and on, and you never thought time is going to pass so quick. And And then, well, my dad is gone. Then I have a son. Then many things changed in a way that can only prove you're doing right. You're doing well. You're lucky. You're blessed. You're helping. You're being part of. And through all this process, you've been meeting a lot of people. This is how I feel. People who really trace a good path for you to follow, to walk on in a different way every day. And it's giving you options, fresh air always. So the morning breath, it's always fresh because you have many options to deal with and to get to know people. This is how I feel now. And of course, I love to share with you any kind of questions, as Nan was saying, anything that we can help with, we're very, very happy to contribute with. And mainly in terms of the journey we are all having, this is how I much prefer to give my opinion, my experiences, to exchange, especially my experiences, because as I said, I can only speak my experience, and I'm very glad that my whole family has been taking part of all this together. Mm-hmm. So I can put it in different perspectives. I can see from my mother's eyes, from my father's side, from my my younger brother, my older brother, and we can all come together and connect, have something in common, because we all been traveling the same vehicle in this wonderful journey called life, and it is amazing. The moment we came with the idea to talk about power animals and all that, it only brought me back to my youth, doing powwow festivals in the 90s and all over the States. Early 94, 95, something like that, we started to travel with one wonderful family who invited us together. And this is the first time I got aware about power animals. It was so much asked and so much present for people. And then I could only put it in my experience and recognize that we all went through that process, and we all have different cultures. You just mentioned Egypt and Mexico have a lot of common.
So much in common, yeah. Even some of the pyramids are connected.
But coming back to the power animals, I was just so impressed to realize that I wanted to start from one point, and I came to this balance, this equilibrium they had to understand our process in this life. And they had 13 different birds or winged animals, winged spirits. And the first 6 of them were grounded, never fly, you see, such as chickens and turkeys. Okay. And there was another 6 that never touches the ground, such as the quetzal and harpy eagles. The one in the middle was a butterfly, a winged animal who showed for the Aztec people the whole process of transformation, and how much can you change, how much can you do, how important you are for this whole environment. They only get to live 2 weeks, but they can go for kilometers a human being cannot do in 2 weeks. They got so much experience, so much to witness, flying and bringing the pollen from one place to another. So its contribution is much more important than the one a human being can do in a whole lifetime.
Yeah.
So that really touches me, because they brought me back to when we do this Dia de Muertos offering, and we represent all these birds, and we put them in the left side, those who never fly, and in the right side, the ones that never touches the ground. And in the center, it is the butterfly. It represents from east to west the path of the sun, which is especially the path we follow as humans. We follow the sun. Yeah. We follow sun's process, sun's timing, sounds everything. And then it is amazing because also the relationship we got with snakes to begin with, that's probably our first form we get before becoming a human form. You know, lately I've been sharing with people about importance for women through the first 2-3 weeks of pregnancy. They got so lucky and so, amazingly blessed by hosting 2 spirits in one human body. That spirit was waving in the universe, waiting to be called. Mom and dad called that spirit. It grounded, and it is looking for a place, a good spot in mom's womb to really be part of it. And it's gonna take a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. After that, the process begins by creating the first organ we all know about humans, and the one that announces the presence of us in the womb of mom, which is our heart. After that, before that, I mean, we got the form of a snake. This embryo, it seems like a little snake. And after that, mom is having 2 spirits in one human body, 2 heartbeats. And our form starts just to get ready. So the first spirits we are getting to know, it is pretty much important what mom experiences can share with the baby in that process. That is why the importance of knowing your power animal, how to use it, when to use it, who you're going to share that with. Some of the power animals we, within our tradition, are keeping, it is for not speaking to anyone, just for you. That will be your balance, your guide for the rest of your path in this life. It's nothing that I'm gonna tag or publish or anything. You know, it is like my inner, my balance, my guide, my greatest confidence, and things like that. You know, and then through processing of after the first process of being inside the womb of her mother, we are related. We got this relationship for the first time with one main spirit, which is the air. This is when elements are becoming very important. Here we're going to start to link a little bit astronomy, elements, and power animals. Because it's all related, and everything goes in a process within our tradition and culture. Then, once we are out of the womb of our mother, and we greet for the first time this huge spirit that is gonna follow our path in this journey called life. For as long as we are breathing, which is the air, we get to interact with some other spirits. I don't know if you heard about the story about from dream catchers and how related they are to babies when they just arrive to this world.
Yeah. When I lived in New Mexico, they're big on dream catchers. I have a lot of them. Yeah.
You see? So that will be our first gate to get attached and get related with the light in this world, the noises of this world, the voices in this world. Babies were used to different kind of things. Then here is a very important thing to mention. Every power animal, every talisman, every element or instrument we use during a ceremonial purposes has to be related with the environment, because every geographic spot has a different spirit.
Oh, yeah.
That we have to be aware of. You mentioned about bear, but we have no bears here in the jungle.
No.
But we have jaguars.
Yeah.
But we have, you see, the environment is different, and it's giving us different varieties of spirits. Now, we have to understand that back in those days, people just began to establish themselves in one spot and deal with the spirit. Today, we have light, electricity. When the sun sets, we turn on the light and say, okay, I can keep going another 2, 3 hours, 4 hours, as long as we can. We refuse to deal with that, the spirit of the darkness. We just started. And then another fauna, another animals starts to get to govern that time of the day during the darkness. Back in those days, our people were used to do that. You see, okay, afternoon, after 7 a.m., after 8 p.m., you must be careful of this. The relationship was much more closer than the ones we have now. Yeah. We have a lot of distractions right now. And in order to understand the connection you have with animals, you must understand first the environment. Because first of all, we share same water, same air, same fire, same earth. So we must be aware of that. Those spirits are coming around you. Some of them are just coming to watch you. Some of them are just coming to guide you. And this is when, for example, you mentioned the Vision Quest. It came to my mind, the Native American Lakota Vision Quest, when you're in the mountain and you have this connection with the spirit of the land. Yeah. And then whatever vision you can have, it is going to come along with an animal. That animal is the one that is going to speak, or the great spirit is going to speak through that animal and be your partner for as long as you're meant to be together. And well, very much.
Yeah, well, I love all of this. Isn't this great, you guys? So, because everything is connected, but I think that we do think compartmentally instead of holistically because of the way that we've been raised in our cultures, and even just the way that jobs are broken down, you know, or school is broken down, you know, or you don't do that, just learn one thing, be a specialist, instead of this holistic living where you walk in a room and recognize there's living beings everywhere, the wall, the floor, the table, right? The crystal, the animals, and everything together. And I think that's where we're going. This idea of the Aquarian age being the age of a oneness. And we're seeing that manipulated in ways saying, oh, well, you have to do this for the greater the good. You know, you have to lose all your freedoms for the greater good. You know, there's ways to take that in the wrong direction, but we're also taking it in the other direction where we have more respect for these different elements and that they exist. And of course, finally, we're waking up to be able to sense that there's more around us. But we have to unplug from, you know, 24/7 to tune into that. So let's talk more about that idea that the celestials, the elementals, the directions, the animals, insects, plants, all of these different beings work together. So tell us more about when you have an animal guide, it has to go with the land or the geographic, did you say geographic area, place?
Well, I remember when I was a kid, we have this celebration for the rain. Still nowadays, the rain season was very important because it is calling a lot of spirits, especially thunder beings. The thunder beings are coming. They announce the rain. They announce the static. They announce the electricity. They announce new life approaching. So the spirits, the animals are sharing that with people. You know, we'll start to deal with frogs the first couple of weeks of rain, and that's something wonderful. I remember the echo. I really got scared. I used to go to primary school the last year. I think only the last year I was going in the afternoons. So the time I was coming home, it was dark already. And during this rain season, I could hear the frogs huge, brother, huge ones, the big ones. And they really scare you, you know, because they won't move in the water, you know, and they only croak, and that's it. The echo, you could hear it all over the streets, you see. Most of the people used to say, walk like a dog during the rain, or walk like a deer, or walk like a jaguar, you know, try to behave, because they were telling you, in few words, they were telling you how the animals educate people.
Mm.
That is something very Mexican we have here, especially Mayan people.
Mm-hmm.
Go and follow the Tohoku. You're always gonna find fresh water. Yeah. Don't follow the bats. The bats are telling you where you can really be protected, even from the rain, from whatever. And the jaguars are gonna tell you where it is a fertile place to hunt and to always find abundance of food, you know, because they can hunt during the day and during the night. So they are masters, they teachers. And that was probably the first connection. I was mentioning something about some power animals that are giving us the first guidance that show us how to survive and how to walk on earth.
Right.
You know, and then we have another ones that are telling us how to deal with dreams, with feelings, with frequencies, with other spirits that are waving in this very air we all breathe in every day, sometimes with the daylight, sometimes with the night. And that was very well exposed for kids, especially.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
when the little girl or a little boy were coming to that, to that transition of stop being a boy and becoming a man, or stop being a little girl and becoming a woman, they have this serious talk with the parents, and they will expose about many things. We can consider now this as some good advices on how to survive, but it wasn't only to survive, because everything they needed to sustain their way of life, such as cooking, making your clothing and feeding and everything, they were well prepared at that age. I'm talking about being barely what, 10 years old, 12 years old, something like that. 9 the girls, 12 the boys, something like that. They were perfectly equipped and prepared to sustain their way of life. They will go beyond that. They knew that the process they started ever since they came out of the womb of her mother, becoming a toddler until the very point, to the edge of really right before becoming a teenager. It was the preparation we all needed. They understood that the process pregnancy was lasting only 7 months, 9 months, no more than that. And it wasn't something that any culture or tribe or religion was saying. It was nature saying, you know what? Nature is telling you, now it's time to go out. Now it's time to face another dimension. So the preparation from becoming a toddler into you got to awake most of your spirits you deal with, or you've been dealing with, for your ancestry, because we represent many generations. Yeah. This is something we must not forget. I got my grandma's spirit, I got my grandfather's spirit, but I have my mom's spirit and I have my father's spirit. Level that. Yeah. Find one to level that and deal with it. But during this process of being a kid until right before becoming a teenager, that was kept safe. And this is when parents were telling the kids, guidance, patience, especially patience, so they can understand what is coming. Because then they have to be aware that your spirit and your body have to work together with so much consciousness that sometimes you go crazy if you're not ready for that. Yeah. Yeah. Nature is telling you that. No society is telling you when you're you grow hair, your body, your voice change. Yeah. sexual life is active and you're awake. You are a creator now. But be aware about others' spirits that can come along, walk along, sleep along with you.
Yeah.
They were very respectful with that. And they were telling also how much important it is to not to bother them and to respect day and respect the night. That is something we must understand that too.
Hmm.
Grandma, the elders mainly will tell you that, you know, go to bed now. And you can say, no, I'm not tired.
That was me. Yeah.
Perfect. Good that you're not tired, so you can rest your body and allow your spirit to do what is necessary for your spirit to do. You know, we are educated, as you said, we're educated in this system to get distracted.
Oh yeah.
To unplug for a couple of hours and then be that robot back again through this society. Back in those days, no way. You needed to recharge batteries. Okay, just go and
Outside. That's what my mom said. 24/7. Go outside. Go outside. Go outside.
it is everything is so related. You see, we're talking about many cultures around the world, not only Mexican, Mayan, or Aztecs, or Totonacs, or Olmecs. For many years, all over the world, people have this consciousness about this connection we have with the world. You can see that in Egypt. You can see it with the Vikings. You can see that with Romans. You can see that all over the world, they were connected, so much well connected. We can only probably prove that by the names they were given. You see, red cloud, white eagle.
Yeah.
You see, a spirit that guides you, a spirit that you walk with. You see, Einstein, one rock. You see, Albert Einstein.
Is that what that means? One rock.
Yeah.
One rock. Well, he had a big rock and he used it well.
All it's not native only. It's not like only Indians got that.
Oh yeah, no.
This German guy, one rock. You see.
Yeah, or we were talking about Wagner, which was my married name, and it's spelled Wagner, but it's also spelled Wagoner, like wagon. Yeah. And so we were just discussing about, I'm sure the people who came to America had that name were the people with the wagons. Oh, go see the Wagoners. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. And then they got shortened and they got changed, and now we get to have a choice.
That's the sad part of history. That's the sad part of history.
So yeah, it is the sad part, but we're waking up to it, so we can change things now. There was something you said about so the different, we think, I think in the US and places like that, we think of animal guides a little bit differently, but we do see the Native American and the North, the Pacific Northwest, and even the Alaskan, the Eskimo areas with totems, with the totem poles. So they would carve these huge, there was like an eagle, right? And there was just like these enormous, almost entire tree trunks carved in this way. And using that clearly more than decoration, right? This was something sacred, some communication, some kind of, so, talk about some of those ways that people would connect and keep that communication open and alive.
Exactly. They found a way to present all this process we have through our surviving in this world. Especially, this is what I'm saying about these geographic spots. You see, when you're far, far away from some other little town or places, you cannot get help as soon as you probably wished, or you just decided to get the population to another spot and discover that and get the risk and all that. We're talking about ancient times. See, totems were telling, first of all, they will speak about the main spirit in the land. And the way is going up and racing and racing and racing up, they will tell you it was a way to teach the youth how to interpret the process the ancestors had to go through and how they deal with the environment for them not to forget that. And as I said, like these words of the elders that I knew back home, it says, walk like a dog during the day and walk like a jaguar during the night, and you'll be safe. Fly like an eagle. It means you're not gonna fly, actually. What it means, eagles don't wing it too much. They just plane. They go with the flow, with the hot air, with the atmosphere. You know, and they only
They're one with their environment and letting it lift them up.
You see, exactly. You know, at the end of the totems, at the very top of the totems is always a birth.
And always that big beak. Yeah.
Yes, because this is like the top of the top of the understanding and education people needed to go through in that process. It was individual, the interpretation, because every family, back in those days, even in my town, we used to be 5 main families in my town. And this is very related with Native American people. Same town, different families. Different families were aware about what contribution they are having. For example, we had sled lodge, we had the Temazcal only at my grandma's house. You know, it wasn't like, oh, I have my backyard able, like I'm gonna build 2 sled lodges for the heck of it. I'm gonna invite my people, and after we have a grill and barbecue, anything, you know, wasn't like that. The only place you fix a Temazcal or a sweat lodge was at grandma's house. They have to be aware about what is happening.
Really, at grandma's house. Oh.
Different families, same town. Another family will have an open Temazcal for people who wants to go and do like that, you know. They will educate its families in a different way. Same town, but different families. And this is what happened in most of the tribes, especially going much more northern than the middle part in the States now, close to Canada, you know. They used to behave like that. They have these long houses that through this historical process, they have to live together, all the families in a long house and things like that, you see. And they have to share all this. But what I meant with the geographic spot, it is that during these 4 seasons of the year, this specific geographic spot is gonna give you during the day and during the night different power animals. For little worms, from ants, from beetles, they will show different seasons of the year, and we probably don't count them because we think they're not as imponent as a tiger or as a bear, and said, you know.
Yeah.
It's not that impressive, like you know.
No,
but
it doesn't sound all sexy. Yeah.
It is very important. They want to tell you when the earth, for example, beetles and ants, they will show you when it is a good time to plant, when the soil it is ready. Crickets are gonna tell you when humidity it is perfect, and you can probably harvest some of the whatever you planted, things like that, you know. And instead, for example, I heard one story one time. I was in these power festivals in the States, and there was a guy who approached this Native American guy and said, you know, I don't know, the conversation was about, he said that his power animal was a bear. And this guy says, well, I'm sorry for you, because bears walk alone. Sometimes it's like, it's not how imponent it is. It is that your path, it has been traced in a way. And if someone told you that your power animal, it is a bear, it means you walk alone. You know, for these people in that very specific geographic spot. If we were to have this explanation in the north part of Mexico, in Sonora, where we used to have bears too. Actually, we still have some of them, these grizzly and bears.
Oh, yeah.
There is a different connection. There is a different connection because the geographic spot, it is different.
Yeah.
You see? So we really have to understand how attached we are to the place we live in. Many of the tribes, they used to go out of their villages only specific times of the year in order to get some exchange information and exchange of products and exchanging what it was necessary for them to exchange with some other tribes. But in the meanwhile, they will really be set on one place and get to understand that place. They've seen rivers getting burned and rivers going away, for generations. And this is sometimes they cry for that loss of a river, see? Because that river was where grandma or grandpa used to drink water, or that connection they have. You see?
Yeah.
We're talking about generational connections for many of them. And today, even if it is our nature to travel, to do these pilgrimages and to migrate, we used to do this much more often now. It is much more normal for us. We're not attached to that. If you see, I was listening to these generations today, they don't will to have a house, you see?
Oh yeah, a lot of them don't want a house, don't want a car. It's their, in a lot of ways I find it fascinating because it's a very different mindset than the one I grew up with, which was, keep getting a better job, make more money, accumulate lots of stuff, get another set of dishes, and you've made it, as long as you have a lot of, stocks, then, and then you lose all that and you're like, who am I? Yeah. Well, but when you move, because I've lived a lot of places, and in the last 6 years we moved a lot around the Yucatan, and it's, for me, everything is energetics. I enter a space and I'm immediately, my spirit, my mind, all the levels of my being are feeling into the space. I've gotten up out of restaurants, even after we've gotten water, and said, I can't stay here, Chris. The energies are just all wrong. And I have to feel into it. I've rented houses where I've not slept the whole night because I stand in the bathroom and I'm feeling the energies. I'm like, and I'm cleansing and clearing and smudging and doing other things and calling on, and I'm, telling Gaia I'm here, and I'm asking permission and doing a lot of these things to acknowledge all of these energies there. There's the energies of the people who built it and the people who lived there, right? There's the energies of the land and the animals that are still there and that were there before, and the ancestors and so on. So yeah, it's such a rich, full way of thinking about life. And I love how you were talking about, like, from when you come in the womb, there's a process, and though that when you turn 7, your spirit and your body finally begin to merge. Before that, they can't, kids are in and out of their body, they're playing, they're joyful and all that, but they have this still stages where they come in, and to acknowledge that you have these power animals or these elementals, right? Or these ancestral energies with you, that those spirit guides or those traditions could be coming with you. Not something that I was consciously raised with, but I think it's absolutely delightful. This is so delicious. So let's talk about the equinox. Why is the equinox so important?
Equinox and solstices were really important because our people used to watch and observe the planets. They were completely aware about our trip in this spaceship called Mother Earth. Nowadays, we want to conquer space, We send shuttles and spaceships, probably without knowing that we are already in the space. We already circulate in the solar system. We have this one wonderful connection, and which is amazing is that our people build up such a wonderful places to observe the movement of the planets, not only to impress anyone, history books are telling us sometimes not the truth, most of the time.
Most of it's not true.
You see,
Yeah.
emperors, queens, kings
Made up their own history. This is who I am. This is what I did. Aren't I great? Put it in a book. Okay. Yeah.
Why this pyramid is being placed east to west, and why north is this, and why winter appears this, and it's not such a thing. We have to think about how these people used to live. So another probably wrong idea we have of these old archaeological places we know that nowadays is that they were all important in terms of astronomy. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Some
It
of them.
wasn't their only function, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it was. They were. It's like designing and building something that's functional, right? You're aligning it with the right power lines. They have electricity. They were doing those things, right? Aligning it, the structure and the astronomical alignment, and even the places on Earth are all aligned for specific energies and powers, right? But it wasn't the only thing, and they weren't burial chambers either. So
No way. Not really. Not necessarily. It goes beyond that. You see, it goes beyond science fiction. This reality we can find through all discoveries they're having.
yeah.
Man, I really want to go back to the.
Whoop! I lost your. Can't hear you. Oh, there you are.
Be there. This is what I really miss. You see,
Go back where?
To these archaeological places and walk and prove a lot of things. It's not the same. We can talk about many things. We can share with people, but it's not the same. You hold your compass here. You remember that we did
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
Oh man, we get so many surprises. You see?
Yeah. We have so much fun when we go together because Cristian and I like to geek out on all the sacred geometry and what is this symbol and why is this over here, and pretty soon the people we're with who enjoyed the meditation, but they're like, okay, we're gonna go have a cocoa frio. You guys are like, wow,
I love
look
that.
at this.
You see, one thing I can see and think and feel and share with people that we actually can do this in these actual times. It is that we are all invited to discover and experience all this. It's not as several as it used to be. Probably I can have only an idea about this. Okay, how several and how strict it was. I don't think all the people was allowed to get informed in all these things, and not because they didn't want people to get informed, but people had different activities. You see. And that it's been proved by the first education they have when you were a kid. They will notice immediately what were your skills, what kind of habits you have. You might probably be a good astronomer or a medicine man or a cook, or and they will dedicate most of this educational energy for these kids to develop all this energy, all these skills, you see.
So they would know their energetic astrological makeup and the other intuitive signs of when they were born. So instead of just being like, well, hey, good luck figuring out who you are, they actually gave them guidance around.
You see, you're sitting on your bench in high school, and a teacher comes and says, what do you want to do? And it's like, man, I've been studying for years. Nobody asked me that before.
Exactly.
They just treat me like a robot, as a number and this, and then they come with a question, It was the opposite back on these days. Well, coming back to the functional structures of these places, we must remember that our people was completely aware of all the 360 degrees of the reality we live on. Not only what our eyes can see right in front of us, we don't even get to observe this 180 degrees right in front of us. Not exactly what you said before. Now that I'm holding my cell phone right here, I'm not even investing my attention in 6 degrees of observation only in my this technical device. You see, We have a view of 180 degrees right in front of us. And behind us, and above us, and below us.
Yeah.
And this is when it comes the understanding of probably what we call now the equinox and solstice. Our people, that was the basics. You know, what's the first planet we follow? What's the first ceramical body we follow? Is the sun. The sun is telling us, okay. And then according to that movement, they notice that some every now and then the season was changing, and they were in a different position, and this and that. Well, the only way they could build such a wonderful pyramids, such a wonderful structures, it was through the observation of nature, through the observation of the planets. And not only because they wanted a nice town, a nice city to look good, and says this is the house of the emperor, and this is the castle, and this is that. No way.
Yeah, no.
You know, when you notice that you have some numbers that plays a very important role all along this archaeological site, you notice that this place was dedicated probably for Venus, probably for the sun, probably for the moon, probably for Mercury. You know, we cannot even get along with the moon nowadays. Moon calendar, sun calendar.
Yeah.
This is something we deal with every day. Every day. You see, the moon, 4 phases. That's it. 4 phases. We call it month. It comes from moon. The positions of the moon, the phases of the moon. When gets when approaches to the earth and when goes away from the earth. See, all these frequencies and intervention we can have every time the moon approaches or goes away and all that. We cannot even deal with that nowadays. We cannot even deal with the sun calendar right now. See, how many changes in history we changed to the sun calendar?
Yeah, too many.
It is crazy to understand now. You know, there was this one girl who came to a cacao ceremony and says, "Oh, today is gonna be full moon, this and that," and I really feel, I really wish that I can have this sacred and female intervention connection with the moon and, you know, all these kind of things. And I was like, yeah, but stop drinking Coca-Cola, please, and stop drinking this and doing that. Otherwise, all the connection with the fluids that the moon, it is giving you this connection, you spoil all that. Yeah. Don't expect any miracles, you know, and prepare yourself to deal with that. We're talking and we're there to explain people what is the connection we can have with the planet. Yeah. This one with the moon and all that, but you must follow as natural as possible your connection, especially with this earth. Then you can feel the intervention on some other frequencies coming from the moon, coming from the sun. This is why when it's important, and as I said before, this is a great invitation we all can have to get connected, get related with, and really feel that now if I do yoga, now if I do this vision quest, now if I do these dances, now if I do this sound healing, everything it is helping us out nowadays. It is probably the best time in history that we can be aware that it is the instrument we all need as human beings. Global system, it brought us so close now that they have to deal with us now. Yeah. You see? And we have a lot of options now. Before, it was hard to go to Tibet. Before, it was hard to get to Egypt or to come to Mexico or to. Nowadays, we can have a meditation, we can have an Aztec dance, we can have cacao, we can have temazcal, we can have all this in one place. Yeah. This is how probably I can deal with this reality now in terms of what my father used to say, that we're making history. We must be aware that we're making history one way or another. So I really love that if we come to talk about all these astronomical positions and how our Mayan people develop a lot of things that, you see, what really amazed me is that they were never used an alphabet. They will use a universal language we can probably all understand, which is the mathematics, astronomy, cosmogony. We all can understand that. We all can see the sun when it rises and when it sets. We all can see the moon, the 4 phases. We all can see Venus 260 days along the moon, that little star. We all can do that. It has been just written down in the symbols and these glyphs, so we can all get along. And if we are much more interested in that, we understand, oh, this one announces a September 22nd, we're gonna have this equinox now, and the fall is coming, this and that. And what frequencies are we have to deal with? All this retreat you're working on, we are working on, and the invitation for people to get connected with it.
Yeah. And well, in the equinox being that balance, I saw photos the other day from outer space of the earth during the solstices and the equinoxes.
Mhm.
You know, and it's just half dark, half light, you know, during this equinox, and all of the energies that means. And then, like you said, so many where we live here in the Yucatan, and maybe where you live, or where you have been, so you are entangled with it. There are these consciously built energy generators, buildings, temples, and places that are aligning. And so their frequency raises, right, during these times when they, for what they were aligned to. There's more energies lining up, coming through there. So there really becomes a portal in the equinox energetically for you to walk through into a new place. And there's a balance. So it's always seemed like it's easier. You're not being pulled one way or the other. That balance is there for you to come back into balance. And so this vision quest that we're going to do together for a couple of days for you virtually online is going to be over the 2 days of the equinox. And one of the days we're going to be at the pyramid or the site, depending on what they say, what the powers that be say about when they're opening what. And we'll be able to bring that energy. If we can't live stream it, we'll videotape it and we'll bring it to you. So, because that's the cool thing about digital photography, it actually captures the energy, the essence, encodes the energy. So we have all those extra things. And then these sites have, most of the pyramids are for Kukulkan. So there's the serpent power guide, of course, and the Balam, the jaguar. At Mayapan, there's a V, big bee god carved in the back of the main pyramid there. And so one of the questions, Cristian, was how do you know you have the right spirit guide? If you're not from a culture that you were raised with understanding that you have one that comes with you.
Okay. I don't think you need to be Native American or Native Mexican or Native, you're Native human, and this is what counts. This is the first requirement. You need to have a power animal with you. And I think we kind of explained that. It is a process. It is a process where animal powers are coming along to you in different spots in your life, in different processes in your life that are gonna help you with. Some people are very related with cats. This is nowadays. You wanna put it now into reality, cats, dogs, birds. It's not much difference than the ones we used to have thousands of years ago, you see? We even live with them. We even invite them to our environment. You know, it sounds crazy. We talk to them. We talk to these animals, you see?
Of course.
How do you know it is the right power animal you're dealing with? Well, you feel this connection, and this connection is going to guide you through the daylight and through the darkness. Sometimes, this is another thing. Sometimes we're not educated to understand all this communication we have with a power animal. The animal can do as much as the animal can do, no further than that. We must understand that all the relationship we create with them, it is in a duality. It takes two spirits to deal with that. We cannot say that this animal is gonna last for the rest of your life and walk along with you. It doesn't function like that, because both are evolving. Both. The animal one day will take off and say, you know what, human, I'm living. I'm done with this. All I had to give, I gave it to you. Do whatever is necessary for you. Or you said, you know what, I love you so much, but you're too old now. You cannot walk with me anymore. You know what? I put you to sleep. It's gonna break my heart, but it's time to let you go. This is probably when we understand that we have to let go a lot of things. Probably the animal is already tired, like 4 years before this chapter comes, you see, and you make it last a little bit longer. A good way to understand when an animal, a power animal, it is the correct one, might be to set it free and see your reaction, see your own reaction and the animal reaction. You see, let it go. Let it go. It says, you know what? I don't need you anymore. I don't need you. It doesn't mean I don't love you anymore, but this connection we have, we are making a routine, we're making a concept out of this, because there is a certain moment. Think and feel. Do you still have that same impression you had the first moment you got connected with that power animal? Of course, you get that connection as a very hit. It comes to your life and makes you change. It opens your eyes, it awakes a lot of senses on you, in you, within you. Then with the time, it's going lower and lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. Don't push that anymore. Don't push it. Let the animal go. Probably has another mission, and you try to keep it with you. See? With the time, I'm talking now about ancient times. With the time, you notice that not long ago, probably 40 years ago, parents used to buy some pets for us. You see, whether it was a little chicken, a rabbit, or things like that, you know, that was probably an educational way to understand the cycle of life, this, that, and especially the loving care connection we can have with other living creatures. This is our society interpretation. But the fact is that the spiritual connection we got with them goes beyond that. You know, then you understand it is language. You see, oh, my poor bunny passed away when I was a kid. I remember that. But now that I see a rabbit now, or a little bunny, I know exactly its reaction. I know exactly his body language. I know exactly what it's feeling, because I already have that connection. You see? Yeah. Then you can put it in practice and says, as I mentioned before, be a rabbit. In this kind of situations, be a rabbit. If we try to keep a pet, a power animal as a pet, it won't work. Won't. The spiritual power animals are guides, not pets. It sounds rude, huh?
That's a great way to put it, because we do get attached. I think a couple of things that you've said here is like, don't get attached to a glamorous, you know, big power. Oh, my power animal is bears and a glamorous, or whatever you might like. You know, I like cats, I like dolphins, and you know, if I get an ant, then I might be like, I got an ant, instead of listening to the message, which can sometimes be very surprising and always very, very relevant.
Allow some other power animals to teach you. That would be the best answer. You know?
I like that idea. So
how I know it's the right one?
Yeah, how would I know it's the right one? Yeah.
Allow another one. Allow another one. You see, they won't judge you and say, "Oh, you betrayed me."
Right. Yeah.
No, they won't.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great idea. Is one, if you've had a strong connection with one particular animal. When I first started all this stuff, I was told by a particular Native American in New Mexico that my totem was a deer.
Mhm.
And so I was like, oh, I don't know what that meant. And so I started working with that. And just over time, I still love that, but it's not the present one, right? It just sort of faded and something else came more relevant. And I didn't have jaguars around me till I came here, you know, and I wasn't even thinking, oh, good, jaguars, you know. It was actually one of my clients who said,
That means you made your spiritual experience and relationship with that spirit, that four-legged spirit, and it's done. Next. What's next? And what's next? What's next? It's evolving. Everything is moving and it's evolving, especially with power animals. We must understand that. When we're kids, most of us want to be a puppy, you know. We're dogs. You know, we even crawl, we even bark, we even imitate that, you see? Some of us are monkeys, you see? But the more we evolve, the more connection we have with different ones. No one wants to deal with bees or with flies. Not many people, because bees are honest, are very honest.
these are
Put your bag
amazing.
on your feet.
Yeah. Well, you remember when we went to Kaba, the first time we went there were bees everywhere. We thought there were drones flying over.
Yeah.
We were just standing there. We got there when it opened, nobody was there. And there's just this huge field before you get to the structures and the temples. And I remember standing there with Michelle going, where's the drone? Why are there drones here? And then realizing the whole ground was covered in bees, covered. It was that loud, right?
Yeah.
And it was safe. We walked through them. I was watching my bare feet, like just like, oh my gosh. And it was profound because our entire experience there was like we were being levitated. Our vibration was so high by the time we got to the temple. And then we sat down, and I remember Michelle saying, I've never had a meditation like that in my life. We were just,
You feel the whole grass covered with bees that morning. I remember that.
Yeah, it was incredible.
So why not just take a lesson from the bees? See how much power, how much energy they created that day. Wow, it was amazing. Well, something is coming to my mind now, and in how to put this intervention we have, or this connection we can have, or our people back in those days used to have with dealing with the positions of the sun, or actually the earth with the sun. Because I was thinking on the word equinox, you see, equinoccio, that means the equal of the night, when the night and the day are equal in hours, in timing. See? And there was a specific moment in life, through this process, again, we all go through, in which we have equal age of mom and dad. Probably, for example, my dad was 37 when I was born. And I remember, probably when I got 37, I felt something like, oh man, I'm my father's age when I was born. And it's like, there is a frequency that gets you connected with that, you know, because you're much more aware at that time, at that representing these years, you know, this age. And then my mom age, you see, we must not forget that we are the result of these two spirits, of these two hearts that gave us the chance to allow us to be here. Then you can say, what is the equal? What is the balance? Where is the spot that I really represent now in my life? Then we can understand why it's important in equinox, why is important solstice in my life. For the planet, don't worry about the planet. The planet is fine. The planet is just fine. Actually, the less humans, the better the planet gets. That's cruel, but true. What is it that our ancestors, Mayan people, had to get connected and related with the positions of other celestial bodies in order to understand our behavior, our consciousness, our dreaming and creation? And it's no joke. You could see all over the world greatest buildings and architecture that can only be brought and materialized through observation of planets. So they probably were so developed, these societies, these cultures. And one of the important things was that information to be shared with people that says, you know what? Here in Mexico, we have an expression that said, you are in the best moment of your springtime. Estás en tu mejor primavera. It means you're blooming. It means you are fresh, you are young, you are everything, you know? You got everything you need, but experience you don't have, you know? And again, it is a process. After the springtime comes the summer, and then comes the fall, and then comes the winter, and goes along. It means you are in your springtime now, and then you're gonna be in your winter. See, and then the cycle starts over again. That is the importance of the connection with the sun, with the moon, and with everything in order to create a good society. Here and here. Then the elders will speak to the youth and say, you know what? Pay good attention of this. Watch the trees, watch the wheat, watch the willows, watch this and watch that, observe this. They will tell you a lot of messages. Of course, when you're younger, when we're teenage, we don't listen. Actually, it's the last thing we do. We want to experience. And you know what? Because we have no experience. It's our nature. But then our nature, it is to exchange the information. There is a point in your life you said, hell, I'm not taking anything with me. I must pass away this. Otherwise, my existence was useless.
Yeah, it's always interesting to get to that point, right? Like when someone dies, or maybe you get older, or you almost die, or something happens that makes you think about what do I leave behind? Did I just sit at home and complain and worry and let my circumstances hold me back, or I was told, or did I experience as much as possible? One time I read in some like Zen thing, I think it said that you're not like your whole purpose, but part of your purpose being in a body is to experience, right? Is to taste, is to have that and feed it back to God, or feed it to source, because you are source in action, right? You are an extension of that. And it's like, you're the only one that can have that experience. And then you can report it back, and then everybody can have that experience, but you're the only one that can have it in your own way. So yeah, we give in to these ideas of not enoughness instead of the abundance of what's here. So, well, what we're going to do for our virtual equinox retreat is Cristian is going to be doing a ceremony with all of the feathers and drums and all that beautiful thing. We're going to be making cacao and showing you how to make cacao and giving you ingredients list and doing a sort of a cacao ceremony, so that's something that you can do there yourself. We're going to be doing a blessing of the land here, which will include that, because we are one, blessing you and blessing your land and connecting to the animals, the ancestors, to the minerals, to all of these life forces, and to the ocean and all of that. I'm going to be doing a Power Animal Vision Quest with you, and we're going to be going to the pyramids. So we've got all kinds of amazing things. It's 2 days, but not all day 2 days, right? So we'll have something for you the first day, and then the afternoon we'll be doing the initiation. And on Friday, the 23rd, we'll be doing all of these good things here from the home. And it'll take about maybe 5 hours of your day. So it's a virtual retreat that you can come back to. You'll have all the recordings, and you just go to nanakasha.com/ceremony. There's a special price and there's a payment plan. And we really want to thank you also, because one of the things is, of course, you can see why I love Cristian, but ever since I moved here to the Yucatan and I didn't know I was staying, Spirit brought me here, started to introduce me to the jaguar and the shaman and people like Cristian. And I realized how important it is for us, like you said, whether you're staying where you are or you travel, to understand the land, to connect back to the resources it has, the powers it has, the wisdom it has, all through time and space, because there is no time and space, and to bring this together. So I used to cry that I wasn't Mayan. Why can't I be Mayan in this life? And we were in a ceremony with Cristian in a ceremonial cave, and the tears were flowing. I wanted to be so connected to these ancient cultures, to these ways that respected and lived, like you said, 360-degree spherical consciousness, living, knowing their spirit, and they're in a body every day in every way. And it was very clear message came for me. And that's what I love about doing this work. What you cleanse and clear, what you realize, what you reveal, what you remember, who you become, you're not the same after them, whether it's virtual or in person. And I was clearly told, you can't be Mayan in this life because your job is to be the bridge, to be the connector. You have to come from that world, Gringo land, so that you know how to bring this wisdom, these ideas, these places, bring people here so that the land can receive your key codes and share with you, and you can both heal and connect people virtually like this. So I'm always really honored and blessed when people come to the retreats, virtual or not, or even come on these live calls, and that we're connecting, we're gathering together in a circle and holding our hearts open. So we get to bless people like Cristian, his family, and all of the other ceremony workers that are holding these and sharing, being willing to share these with us now, right? There was a time when nobody was allowed to know these outside of the temples or outside of your race or your culture or your town or your. So we're incredibly blessed, and I hope that you'll join us. Cristian, you have anything else you want to share before we close?
I can just wait. I can wait for the day to come and be there. Thank you all. Thank you for. I know there is a lot of things we would like to share with you, but fortunately, time is not always on our side. And yeah. Anyways, there is a lot of information. Please join us for this retreat, and we can have much more time to exchange information with all of you. This is fascinating. This world we come out of, and we are made out of. This world, our people, our ancestors build up for us. It is really amazing. Let's go back to it. Let's get to understand all that. Otherwise, we make useless all that existence of many generations of people who really put a lot of effort and energy and their whole lifetime into that. You see, being completely aware that the coming generations will need that, something that probably we don't do nowadays. I only care about my iPhone, and I don't care what next generation is going to eat, what kind of quality of air they're going to breathe. You see, there is a lot of differences, but as we were talking, this is a good opportunity, a good option we can offer, being virtual or not. Get connected. Connection is there. It is in the static. It is in the air, on earth, and it is for all of us, the possibility. Thank you. Love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sweetie. Love you. Thanks, everybody. Genevieve says magical blessings, and Pamela said eternal blessings. And okay, mahalo nui loa means thank you very much from Hawaii. You're so welcome. All right, thanks everybody. Please let us know if you have any questions and share this with anybody else, and have a beautiful, blessed day. Remember, the full moon is coming. Mercury retrograde is coming. You're going to have a nice dreamy weekend. See you next time. Bye. La la, let's see. First I do this. Stop.